You're listening to the Platte River Bard.
Hello, and welcome to the Platte River Bard. This is Chris Berger.
And I'm Sherry Berger.
And we are here at the Bellevue Little Theatre. We are talking to Dr. D. Laureen Pickle. She is the director. We are talking to John Arnsdorff. He is the assistant director.
Yay.
We are talking to Riley Pope. She is the stage manager. She does some marketing as well.
Yay.
And we're talking to the man himself, Fred Vogel. He's playing George Bailey.
George Bailey.
What are we talking about? It's a Wonderful Life, of course, because everybody knows it. And BLT is doing it from December 6th through the 22nd. It's their holiday show, and it's a bit of a world premiere, I understand. We'll get into that here in a second. But thank you, everybody, for talking with us and letting us into the theater.
Thank you for letting us in. It's cold outside. And it's a perfect time for a Christmas show. So tell us about this production. This is specifically a world premiere.
Yes, why is this a world premiere?
Because it only just came into public domain.
Really, it is now in public domain.
The movie script came into public domain, and John and I both had always thought it belonged on stage.
Oh, wow.
And we came up with those thoughts independently, and then we got to talking about it because we kind of share a brain, and and we said, we should maybe do that, and we're like, yeah, okay, so we did.
And we kind of watched the movie together and thought, okay, what immediately would be a challenge on a stage, and then how do we work through these things with the space here at Bellevue, utilizing the aisles and knowing that there's some limitations on backstage space, and trying not to have 300 scene changes because there are many, 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 many scenes.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
And you wrote this for Bellevue.
We did. We wrote it for the Bellevue stage.
So you
because-
guys adapted it yourselves?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So this is adapted by you?
Me and John.
And John. Okay. Okay.
And
that's-
then you can license it, yes?
Well,
We'll see how
we'll
it
see.
goes.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
That's
And
exciting.
we've been working on it. We were just talking the other day for it's going on like 2 years.
Yeah.
And it would work on it for a while. Then Laureen would have a project. I'd have a project. Then we'd pull it back out.
Sure.
But at some point we had the idea. We heard a couple of just period songs that we thought, well, how could we work this into it? And then that grew. And we have a lot of music from the 30s and 40s that it's not like a true musical. Some of the cast does sing, but it's more little snippets of songs to kind of give the characters an extra moment. Gives George and Mary a few nice little moments to cement before it's off to the next interesting development in their lives.
But there ain't no kick lines. No kick
Yes.
lines.
Oh, no kick line. It's all right.
We
No
fought
tap
for
dancing.
him, but
You fought for him, but they didn't get the kick.
No.
So it's a play with music as opposed to a musical.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
And so we should talk about that music as well.
Okay.
Right? So you've kind of adapted some of the music. too.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the first one that we settled on was Tell Santee I live in a shanty. Yeah.
It was this cute song from, I think
It's
it's
terrible.
Oh,
1935.
wow.
And I found a recording, and I actually found the 78 of it, and then we used AI to strip the vocals out so we could use the original recordings kind of for the background. Like, that's going to be Violet.
Yeah.
Violet gets some really fun moments.
Yeah.
George and Mary have some really sweet moments that I think it's going to be a lot of just awe
Yeah.
for the audience.
Mr. Fred,
yes.
this is a pretty great role. This is the.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, most people, at least if you're, I don't know, over 30, have probably seen this at least once.
Oh, this is
At least once.
this. Yeah, it's the Christmas movie as
I
far as
know.
I'm concerned. Like
Yeah.
this is one of my favorite movies. Period. And so the fact that they even asked me to play George is just still.
Such a great part.
I feel like I'm in a dream. Like
It's such a great
It's
part.
such a great part, and I'm having the time of my life in this. So
Yeah, we every night we sit and go, wow, we are so lucky.
oh, stop it.
I am not going to stop it.
Lauren, I don't know if we ever told you this, but through the whole process, as we were talking through, it's like if we don't have the right Fred, we don't have the right George. See, you're
Fred.
just George. We don't have the right George.
We don't have a show.
It doesn't.
It's true.
You can have some other people that maybe go a different direction, but George is the heart and soul.
Yeah.
Of,
Absolutely.
so we're really thrilled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're yeah. Yeah.
And how are the costumes coming along for this era? So
Oh,
it's
so
40s
many
era.
costumes.
So many costumes.
Well, it started.
You're
at the-
keeping it in the period.
Oh yeah.
that's
So
what I
it
figured.
starts in 1919 when George is a little boy, and then the next
right.
is like 1928.
Something like that.
Yep, and then it ends in like 1945. So yeah, where it's all
Got a lot
period
going on there.
costumes,
Yeah.
lots of little kids in knickers, and yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Oh, how fun.
And we have a wonderful costume designer, Leah,
Yeah.
who's done lots of things at BLT. Most recently, she did Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this theater has a treasure trove of vintage things upstairs. So it's been a little bit of she's got some things, we've got some things, we borrowed some things, somebody's got something at home.
And John has
it's
hit
come
every
together.
thrift store.
A lot of
Yeah.
thrifting.
Sure.
I can tell you where to find the bargains. You hit those 99-cent color of the week sales.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's awesome. So this could be kind of your signature show at some point, maybe.
Your
Well, we're
mouth
not
to God's
opposed.
ears.
Yeah, we're not opposed to that idea.
Okay, you're not hating. Well, I mean, it's one of these.
If they can do Die Hard, they can do
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Well,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
well, and like Red said, I mean, this is one
Yeah.
of those, this is one of those movies everybody watches every
Yeah.
year. I mean,
Right.
and it's a tradition at this point. It's
Oh, yeah.
like a Christmas Carol.
Yeah,
I mean,
if-
it might as well be.
If you own a TV, you've seen at least part
Sure.
of this movie
Yeah.
at some point. Like, it's just that iconic. So like, I have a lot of lines, but the lines that are sticking the best are the ones that are like, oh, I've seen this a million times.
Sure,
So
sure.
Yeah.
And even
Mhm.
sometimes watching it, it's like certain parts of it, I could kind of hear the next line because I've seen it so many times. We had such a fantastic turnout for auditions.
We
and
couldn't believe it.
You guys know that can go either way.
Yeah, we
Exactly.
just-
Well, especially at Christmas time.
There are
'cause
many,
Yeah,
many
so many
wonderful
opportunities in
holiday
town.
shows
There's
going
opportunities,
on.
Yeah.
and sometimes people just,
We're busy.
I don't want to do anything this
Yes.
Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm taking this Christmas off, and that happens.
Yeah, we just didn't know. We just didn't know, and we were holding our breath, and then we had 60 people audition.
And we had so
Wow.
many people that are in
Wow.
the show that had said kind of the same thing as Fred is this is my favorite holiday movie, or this is one of my favorite movies. Or even with the number of people that came out, you're always worried about disappointing people when you could see 4 people that all could play a part.
Yes.
And no one seemed to be disappointed at maybe playing a smaller role than they'd hoped for. It's a wonderful cast.
It's a beloved show.
Yeah, I
And-
think. Sorry, we
Go for
we
it.
had little shout out to Bevan Phillips, who's playing Annie.
Yes.
You'll see this on our social media eventually, but I had interviewed her about the show, and the way she described it was: imagine watching your favorite Christmas movie every night and watch it blossom like a flower, and watch it come to life in this whole new way. And she is just. I mean, she spoke for so many of us when she said that. It is genuinely, this whole
Absolutely.
process has been watching something so beautiful and nostalgic come to life in this new way. Ironically, I'm in a wonderful life coming to life, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
no,
been beautiful.
It is one of those beloved shows. It just is. It
and
just
she's
is.
going to be amazing.
Oh, yes.
We got to
So-
speak with her when she did on Golden Pond.
And I
Oh,
get to see her in
she's-
it
Case, I
as well. So,
She's such
yeah.
a lovely human
She-
being, and she can
is.
cook. Oh man.
Oh yeah, she's always bringing treats for us during rehearsal.
Oh,
It's-
is she the cast member that's always
Yes.
playing you with all the
and
big
we're,
stuff?
we're
Oh, my
okay
gosh.
with that.
oh yeah.
It's all
As long
right.
as I get some, I'm okay with it.
What an aging. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's kind of it's interesting because a lot of people in this area don't realize that Donna Reed, who played Mary, is actually born and raised in Denison, Iowa.
Denison, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And they used to do the Donna Reed Festival all the time, and I taught there for a few years, and that Riley reached out to them and said, "Hey, we're doing this," and so some people from the Donna Reed Foundation are going to come and see it. So we're really excited about that
That's
too.
wonderful.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a hometown connection there too.
And then also for the set, you can see kind of how the set's progressing, but we also will have projections. And for some of the projections, we found some local buildings
Yeah.
that we could utilize. There's an old 1800s Presbyterian church in Bellevue, and we found a local artist that had done a painting of it that we're using. And then just down the street here is the old Fontenelle Bank from 1856, and we shot press photos there, and we're
Yeah,
using
yeah.
outside pictures of that as the Bailey Building and Loan.
Oh, cool.
And then just some really nice 30s era photography that just will give it just a little, I think, a little more color than what you would get in a black and white
Yeah.
movie.
Well, and you were just showing us, you found a Victrola
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was
on
talking. I
what we
missed
would
it.
say, like Facebook Marketplace or something.
Yes.
That's like in perfect working
yes,
order.
yes. And
wow.
there's that iconic scene where Mary, of course, is mad at George and she smashes a 78 record that, so we kind of have a Victrola, and we have all of these era appropriate songs that have that little bit of a scratchy, tinny quality. So who doesn't need a Victrola?
Right.
Come on,
It's such a practical thing to have.
Yes.
I wonder if you could
Need
do
that.
you have to break one then every
Yeah.
show?
We
or
do,
is there any way you
and
could substitute?
give a
it?
little call out here. A gentleman that owns Canesville Collectibles in Council Bluffs. It's a record store. The whole basement is full of, I'm not exaggerating, tens of thousands of 78 records, and most of them are $3 for $1. And he just gave us a pile, and you kind of hate to break them, but
Right.
yeah, some of them are already chipped or cracked or
Yeah.
muddied
Gonna
or
love it.
If they're
Fair
already
enough.
bad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
they've outlived their.
Mari's gonna love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. I know.
Yeah.
No, we have Mari Johnson who's playing Mary. Mari's Mary. And
Mari.
oh my goodness, the two of them together,
Yes.
Fred and Mari, they
Such
have
chemistry.
they have great voices. They're great actors. We couldn't be more grateful for who we have. And then you've got all these kids.
The kids.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh, we've got, we have David and Vienna and so many just talented.
Joni.
Oh my God, Joni.
And Finn plays
Arlene.
Tommy.
Day
And
one.
Arlene.
Arlene, do you want?
Finn
Oh,
Burnley
man.
is 5. And
Oh.
he does the Tommy Bailey, excuse me, I burped.
All these
He is the cutest, oh my Lord.
But I mean, this is such a. We have how many generations would you say are in the show? 4.
Easy.
We've got it
Wow.
5 years old to I can't think of our oldest, probably in 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's this
absolutely.
huge multi-generational cast, just full of the most loving people. Some of these people, it's their first time on stage.
Yeah.
Like young and old, it's their first time on stage. And then you have like, a Fred Vogel and a Mari who are super experienced. And it's been the coolest part for me as a stage manager whose job is to just sit there and watch everybody, is watching them become friends.
You do a
like
fair
all-
amount
I
more.
think you do a little bit more than
Yeah,
that.
but
More than
in
just
the
sit and watch
beginning
the
at
show.
least. It's been really fun. I mean, you've got a group of, I think we've got 10 kids, 10
Yeah.
or 12, and watching them at the beginning kind of not talk to each other, and now you can't
can't
stop them.
pry 'em apart with
They
a
are
crowbar.
they
Yeah.
are the best of friends, and watching these people who came in really nervous and hadn't done a show before
Yes.
become just the favorite people to watch on
Yeah.
stage.
And that's
the
that's theater kids in a nutshell.
Oh, I
right?
mean,
Yeah,
no.
isn't it though?
The
Just like-
community building, the nostalgia of the show and the compassion that just comes out with the material has been unreal to
And
watch.
that's the thing too, is like, even though this show can get like really dour and really down at some points,
Sure.
it's not like cynical at all.
No,
I've never
it
felt
is not.
I've never felt cynicism both on stage or off. Everybody just really supports each other, really loves each other, and you can tell when we rehearse this on stage.
It's almost triumph over cynicism.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
think about it, you've got Potter in the last few scenes. You don't see Potter anymore. Like,
Exactly.
you win.
Who is Mark Reed?
True.
Yeah, who
I
is-
would say, who's your Potter? Mark Reed?
Mark Reed,
Who
who
I
is
think is having so much fun.
deliciously
in that
evil.
part.
Bad guys
Yes.
are so much
Yes.
fun to play.
Yeah, his husband, Jim Farmer, plays Clarence, so you couldn't get
And Jim is
more,
Clarence.
yeah,
Okay.
more diverse personalities.
Wonderful contrast.
And speaking as somebody who has to act alongside both of them, it's just like, I can't even really describe it, which is great for a podcast, but but they're just on all the time, and it's so much fun to work with both of them.
Working with people like that, it makes your job easy.
10 times easier.
It's
yeah.
like when you work with people who are like that, it's just like it's almost it's not work anymore. You just come and
Absolutely,
you just
yeah.
do it. You just
Yeah.
come and play.
And watching you guys too, you're finding rhythms with each other too. You're reacting to each other and trying different things when they keep different directions. And I love watching you make choices and maybe just veer a little different direction than the movie.
Yeah.
Because I think it is hard with something that's known very well
Sure.
to fall into a caricature of the actor playing the part. And I don't see that happening up there.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm very conscious of playing George, is like, I don't want to do Jimmy Stewart.
Sure.
I know. Yeah, that's the thing. That's
As
hard.
easy as that is for me to do.
Fair.
Clarence, like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their Jimmy Stewart. Absolutely.
No, so I'm just trying to find George naturally and sort of do my own thing and make George my own, because I have a lot in common with George. So I'm pulling a little bit from my own personal experience.
That's cool. Then I was going to say this is quite a departure from the last time you were at I think you had like maybe 3 lines last time because you were the monster.
I was.
In Young Frankenstein.
I was.
A lot
Which
less
was
grunting this time.
a little less. I do grunt a little bit.
There is
but-
there is a grunt.
There's a grunt.
There's an inside joke.
Inside
grunt,
joke.
Yeah.
Less makeup though. So
Yes.
Yeah.
There you
And
go.
less tap dancing.
No
Yes.
platform.
no 6-inch platform shoes that I need to tap dance in. So, it's quite a shift, but
Quite a rage. Good for
but
you.
I'm really glad I auditioned for Young Frankenstein because it eventually led me to this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. We're glad you did too.
it's it's just been such an inviting theater to work for, and everybody here, like I said, has just been so supportive and so loving. I will come do shows here for years, I promise. So.
You better.
Yeah. I mean, I live in Benson, and I have
Benson.
probably 3 theaters that are within 10 minutes of my house.
Sure.
And I come down here for everything, so whatever. Because this is our home.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, and John grew up in this theater, so
Oh.
Did you? Okay.
Yep. First show I did here was Oliver when I was in 6th grade in
Oh my God.
1981.
Wow.
And it's changed a lot since then, but there's a lot of the same good things.
Yeah.
The theater has more resources and more following now. It was really bare bones back then.
Was it?
But
it's
yeah.
pretty bare bones now. But we do a
Different
lot.
way.
We do a lot of stuff
So
with
you
what we
guys
got.
do a lot here. You don't shy
We
away
do what
from
we got.
anything.
Yeah, and the thing about this show is that it's definitely a feel good holiday show because you're gonna walk away feeling like wonderful because it's a wonderful life. But there's some really dark moments in this show, and
There
it
is.
does. I mean, he's contemplating suicide, and that's a big deal. And
big
we're going to try to incorporate some stuff in the program about if you or anyone you know is. And holidays are hard.
They are.
They're really
Yes.
hard for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And for like my family, none of my family is living anymore. So it's hard on me. And I lost my sister 2 years ago, and I'm very grateful to have the friends that I have in town because otherwise, I don't know how I would get through the holidays.
Right.
I understand that.
So having a show like this where it is so raw in some scenes. There are a few scenes that we don't like to do. We just don't like to do them because they're hard and it hurts. The scene with Gower and young George where Gower's just beating the crap out of him.
Oh.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awful.
yeah.
And the scene, the worst scene for me in the whole show is when George goes after Uncle Billy and says, "You doddering old fool, one of us is going to jail and it's not me." And we just, God, they're so hard. But I mean, that's part
Shout
of
out
it.
to Randy Wallace for being such a great
man,
sport during that
Randy
scene.
No,
Wallace.
and Patrick Pope.
Yeah,
Patrick Pope.
My dad.
Riley's dad plays Gower.
And-
He's fabulous.
And
But-
David, who plays young George.
Oh,
Man.
they tear your heart out.
Yeah, I mean,
And who's Randy playing?
Randy's playing
playing
Uncle
Uncle Billy.
Billy.
He's Uncle Billy? Okay, cool. I
Yeah.
worked with him at the loft.
Oh, he's
I love
awesome.
him.
I think the first show that he did in Bellevue
He's been doing quite a
was
bit over here.
was Poorhouse with me.
Was it
Could
Boris?
be.
A long time ago,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, those scenes are so dark. And the first time that we did those scenes, and we had the rest of the cast here, you could hear a pin drop because everybody was like, well,
Yeah.
And it's one thing too that I think is really effective with kind of some of the use of music is, and I'm not going to give away really, ironically not the ending but the beginning because I think the beginning is really powerful.
yeah.
Yeah.
But incorporating some music to immediately strike a mood, whether it's melancholy or most of the music is very happy and very bright and very joyful. But it kind of helps pull the audience into okay, and now we're moving into a brighter moment, and now things are going to get a little bit better, and kind of helps them along that journey.
For sure. Yeah, I like that. And I don't know whether it's a trend or maybe it's just something I'm noticing more. But more straight plays will seem to be incorporating more music as transition and sort of mood setters. Is that something that's sort of trending more in the last handful of years, or is this just something I'm just noticing?
I don't really know. I mean, I love it. Being a musician, I like I like music, and one of my favorite things to do when I'm working on a straight non-musical play is to find pre-show music, post-show music, intermission music, and stuff that can help those scene changes. So I love that, and I notice it when other people do it. I'm like, oh, I like that too. So I don't know if it's a trend or if
Maybe that the
I just like
technology
it.
has come a long
Yeah,
way, and
yeah.
most theaters do have
That's
better
part of
sound
it.
equipment now, so it's easier to kind of string it in there. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
you're right.
part of it.
I've
It
noticed
got
that
easier.
too.
It got easier.
And we were just talking about that as far as Christmas goes. Music is people kind of expect it for Christmas. I think we were just having that conversation just a couple days ago, where people kind of expect that music during a Christmas show at some time, in some capacity. So,
For sure.
John, you said that you grew up here at Bellevue, but is this your first assistant director role?
It is.
Nice.
This is really the first time I've done anything other than acting or singing, and for the show, co-writing.
How do you like it?
I maybe bit off a little more than I was expecting. Also doing props. I've been helping with costumes. I designed
Yeah.
the projections.
a
A lot of things.
He's a glutton for punishment.
So it's
Telling me.
A lot of times it's hard to get to sleep because I can't turn my brain off. But at the same time, seeing all of this come together is so gratifying.
Is it?
It's been so long that we've been working on it, talking about it, having ideas, and it's finally gelling.
I found myself surprised. I recently, just in the last few years, have started to assistant direct and direct, and I thought I was going to be one of those people that was going to kind of lose patience and want to kind of go up there and do it for them. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm so the opposite of that, and I found it so gratifying, sort of putting things together and helping the actors sort of find what they need to find. That it was very unexpected. I did not expect that, and I liked it a lot more than I ever thought I would.
I
And
really love
surprised.
directing. I really do.
Yeah.
Same here.
And it's, I always tell my actors, and they're like, well, I was thinking. I'm like, yeah, do it. If I don't like it, I'll tell you.
And some of these scenes that we sat and thought about and puzzled out and gone through different ways, a lot of them worked.
Yeah. Thank God.
Wow. There are a few that, we had to tweak some things, but I'd say
Yeah.
more than not got up there and that works even better than how I
than we-
pictured it
than we
sometimes.
hoped, yeah.
Have you had the chance to direct at all, Fred, or assistant director, or anything like that?
Not in the community, but I'm a drama teacher over at Beveridge Middle School.
There we
in
go.
Omaha.
So yes.
So I'm actually directing a show right now.
Cool.
We're doing our one act Check Please, which is yeah.
Yes.
And my kids are having a blast with that. So I get 2 shows at once, which is daunting, but it's also fun. That's why I chose this career path in the first place. So
your kid's going to come see you?
oh yeah.
And your
my
kids like to see you.
God.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I had a couple kids at the last show, which I have mixed feelings about.
That was a very
with all
different
the
show.
with all the
It
Mel
was a
Brooks
different
jokes.
show.
Sure.
But they really enjoyed it, and so
They did.
yeah. And I always encourage my kids to go out and see shows to get a feel for what drama is actually like.
Yeah.
And I think going to see theater makes you a better person. So
I agree, and not just even though this is has music in it, it is a play with music, not just musicals.
no.
Because I know
Absolutely.
that's everybody's go-to. Oh, go see a musical.
Absolutely.
Go see a regular play.
Oh, yeah.
Just go see
I'll
a
take a tedious, long 3-hour drama any day, done
Oh,
well.
yep.
Oh,
That's
wow.
my go-to.
if it's good, yeah.
And I found that being a director, assistant director, has actually made me
Better actor.
a better actor.
Same
And-
here.
Absolutely.
Same with you.
Same here,
Yes,
yeah.
for sure. And I don't know why. I suppose there's many reasons.
I think I'm better at staying in the moment now that I've had directing experience. So
I think being a director and being an actor, being a director makes you a better actor, but I think also being an actor makes
Oh,
you a
sure.
better director because you understand what it's like to be in that moment, but my arms don't work and I want to, and I
and it
yeah.
makes you think about how that moment needs to work on stage.
Yeah.
You can
Yep,
visualize
yep,
it a
yep.
little
And I
bit better.
think you also remember how directors you've worked with helped you and
Yeah.
how they phrase things, or how, after 5 tries, they finally said the thing that clicked in your head.
right.
Yes. And that's what got it.
Yeah, I mean, this show is in, knock on wood, it's in such good shape that I knock on wood 3 times. There we go. Everybody knock.
Everybody knocks, yes.
It's in such good shape that I get to be super, super picky about stuff.
That's a nice place
Yeah,
to be
it
in.
is, especially with like some of the Potter and George scenes. I get really out of yeah.
Yeah.
So I can get in there and just really mess around with it because I mean, they're good actors, and they make my life so easy. So then I get to get really like, okay, let's do this.
Yes. That's, yeah. And I think you grow in appreciation, and I think it has made me easier to work with, to be, I don't know, more directable.
Yeah.
If that's a thing.
You know when to shut up.
Yeah, yes, and you know how to listen to the director,
Right.
I guess, because at some point you were on the other end trying to get your idea across to that actor as well, and so it seems like you almost tune in a little better, even though you always listened. It seems like you listen differently.
Yeah, and I think
You know?
the reverse is true as well. But because I've been directed by really good directors as an actor, so as a director, when I can see that they've got it right there, and it may not be what I was thinking, but let's just see what they got because I'm probably going to like it better than what I thought anyway. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think being an actor, you recognize when all the pistons are firing, and you're like, I'm just going to stand back and watch.
Another kind of unique challenge with this show, and a shout out to Riley, is because it's a new script. We're figuring things out. You're figuring out the set, and you're figuring out how to move things, and we're doing a lot of, you close the curtains for the big set movements, and there's still action going on the front. But she's had a lot to deal with.
I was saying,
It's new. And, our whole team, I think, has worked really well together, but this has been especially challenging in a lot of different ways. And it's now, again, knocking on wood. The pieces are falling together, but boy, it's last few weeks we've had just some challenging things to figure out. There's
there
not a
been-
lot of space backstage.
Yeah, no, that's what I understand. And have there been changes on the fly since this is brand new and you're staging it for the first time? You've been like, oh, that didn't work quite how
Yeah,
I was
I mean, but
thinking.
that's the way it always is.
Yeah.
I think, well, and when we sat on the couch and drank a lot of wine and started working on this, we didn't have the walkway that we have in
Right.
front that we used in Young Frankenstein
Oh.
because we needed to surround the pit, and they used the walkway. And I was just like, let's just leave it and we'll use it. So when we adapted the script, we did it not having a walkway, so we've been able to move stuff around that way too. So yeah, and then some things you're like, okay, well that just did not work. Let's try something else. Yeah.
And then a lot of, just, okay, how are we going to do this? Where does this thing need to go? Can we move this thing someplace else? Okay, now who's moving it? Just logistics, right?
Yeah.
It's getting those pieces worked out. But yeah, I think there's some really nice visual things in that having that thrust on the front. We actually moved where we were originally planning to have the bridge,
Yeah.
and now I can't even believe we weren't
I know.
always
I'm-
thinking
yeah,
of that.
I know.
Because the bridge is so pivotal. It's such a symbol.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's kind of nice. Sometimes when you finish the show, you're like, oh, well, maybe we can just use this thing that's already built and sitting right in front of us.
Great. Well, you have an experienced stage manager to help you figure that out.
Absolutely.
Riley's
Great.
Riley is number one.
Well, I credit a lot of what I've learned to Laureen over the last
yeah,
decade
yeah.
too. So,
But
It
you have
helps.
a lot to manage. In
oh
this.
yeah,
Boy.
this is a hard one, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
couldn't be more thankful
So-
for
lots
it.
of people.
This is they said it lives and dies on George, but I also think it lives and dies based on stage management as well. Just figuring out how things work on stage. is-
Well, and we've got some really handy,
Those
really
shows.
lucky people, so
Yeah.
Yep.
it's
One of those
been
shows.
a lot easier than it could be. Very
Yeah.
thankful.
But it's going to be great because you've got all the
Yes.
elements of Christmas.
Some great
too,
old
so-
Christmas songs and some just great old songs
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
Ah, such a great show. Like I said, it's one of those shows. It's like a Christmas Carol. It's a tradition. Everybody's like, I'm gonna
We're
watch
hoping
this
that
year.
it will become a tradition because it sure means a lot to us, and I feel like the message that it gives people that you matter more than you
Yes.
ever would believe you
Yes.
matter. I hope that we can do it again sometime. in coming years, because it sure has been a labor of love, absolutely, but it has been laborious.
Yeah.
All right.
But, the shows always are. And if it's worth it, hard work is okay when it's worth it. So it's
Yes.
definitely worth it.
So if anyone out there's looking for a Christmas play for next year,
Bum, bum, bum.
you know where to
There's
find
an
us.
adaptation right
Yes.
here.
Absolutely.
We do have people who listen from all around the world. So
Yay.
you never know.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for spending the time with us. I got to go check out
Yes.
the Victrola before
Absolutely.
I leave. But yes, thank you so much.
Those
for
tickets
talking
are
with
on
us.
sale right now on the
They
website.
sure are.
The tickets are on sale right now.
Coming down.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
Merry
you guys.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Bellevue Little Theater's world premiere of their own adaptation of It's a Wonderful Life will be presented December 6th through the 8th, 13th through the 15th, and the 20th through the 22nd. For tickets, go to theblt.org. Thank you for listening and supporting the arts in the Platte River area and beyond. Please subscribe to our podcast so you are sure to catch all of our future episodes and join us on social media. See you next time on the Platte River Bard.